In the slow days leading toward December 15th, a peculiar quietness began to sink over the planet, not the silence of fear, but the kind that appears when the world unknowingly waits for something. It drifted through observatories glowing in the blue hush of midnight screens, settled across research stations where scientists worked alone, and lingered in the still corners of space agencies preparing for another ordinary night. No alarms were triggered, no satellites blinked out, and yet, under the smooth rhythm of daily life, something faint had begun to shift. Far away, past the warmth of the inner planets and deep into the outer corridors of the solar system, an object from another star glided inward. Astronomers designated it 3I Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar visitor humanity had ever recorded. But the title felt strangely inadequate. This was no ordinary wanderer. It carried signatures that did not match anything seen before. Ripples, cadences, disturbances that moved through space like distant footsteps in the dark. Almost no one noticed at first. The world was too loud, too occupied with itself. But the instruments listening from the far reaches of space had no distractions. They watched, silent and patient, and in that wide cosmic emptiness, they detected a change. Earth's orbit, normally as predictable as a metronome, began to drift by a margin so small it could vanish in rounding errors. A shift measured not in kilometers, but in fragments of data. A drift that persisted, and always in the same direction, as if something delicate, unseen, was brushing against the planet. Not forceful, not harmful, but intentional. When analysts traced the anomaly backward, every path converged on a single region, the sector of space through which 3I Atlas was gliding. And that was when the questions began. What kind of interstellar body could influence Earth from such an immense distance? What mechanism could reach across millions of kilometers quietly and leave a measurable imprint? 3I Atlas had slipped past the outer boundary of the solar system years earlier. At that time, nobody knew it existed. It wandered through that cold frontier like a ghost moving through halls of forgotten worlds. Too dim to spot, too slow to draw attention. Only when it came closer to the sun did something inside it begin to stir. Most comets brighten steadily as sunlight awakens their frozen surfaces. But this one brightened unevenly, not in bursts, not in flares, in pulses, soft, rhythmic, consistent, like a heartbeat echoing across the void. And with every pulse, Earth registered a microscopic nudge, barely detectable, but perfectly timed. Still, nothing threatened the planet. No seas rose, no winds tore through continents. The effect was so gentle it seemed almost respectful. A signal without words, a presence without intrusion. As December drew near, telescopes across the world fixed their gaze on the approaching traveler. What scientists expected to see was a comet. What they found defied the category entirely. 3I Atlas rotated slowly, almost elegant in movement, revealing surfaces of material unknown to any catalog. Fragments that mirrored sunlight like shards of metallic frost. Dust grains that refracted color beyond the limits of Earth's spectrometers. And surrounding the entire body, a faint, breathing halo of energy. None of it matched the models. Some theorized magnetic interactions. Others imagined trapped solar particles escaping in unusual patterns. But nothing explained why Earth had begun to resonate with it. By the time December 15th approached, curiosity replaced concern. Humanity was preparing not for disaster, but for an encounter with something profoundly unfamiliar. On the night before the event, in the deep quiet before dawn, a whisper of radiation brushed against Earth's magnetosphere. It was delicate, almost hesitant, like a fingertip gliding across the planet's protective shield. Sensors picked it up instantly, though no human could see or feel the contact. There was no danger at all, only a subtle acknowledgement. I am passing by. When the object reached its closest alignment with Earth, its behavior changed. The pulses began to slow, the brightness steadied, the shimmering halo faded into the backdrop of night. It was as if the traveler had arrived exactly where it needed to be, and stilled itself. December 15th arrived not as an event, but as a presence. The first sign appeared in the night sky. Only in a few places, those where the horizon was wide and the air clear enough, carry the faintest distortion. The stars dimmed just slightly, as though their light bent around something invisible drifting through the dark. A distortion so thin and fleeting, it could be mistaken for a trick of the atmosphere. But for those who witnessed it, the moment felt strangely emotional, as if the sky itself had inhaled. The second sign did not touch the eyes. It touched the instruments. Earth's magnetic field shifted in a soft, rolling wave, structured, patterned, unmistakably rhythmic. The same rhythm that had followed 3I Atlas across its long approach. For 1 hour, Earth resonated. A harmonic vibration shimmered within the upper atmosphere, too low to hear, too subtle to touch, yet clear in every data stream. A signature that mirrored the slow rotation of the interstellar traveler. No one could explain it. Some invoked magnetic resonance. Some imagined exotic particles interacting with the field. Others chalked it up to coincidence, a cosmic alignment with no deeper meaning. But to those watching their monitors in the blue glow of midnight science, it felt less like random noise and more like greeting. As the planet rotated deeper into shadow, the auroras brightened into colors unseen in human history. Blues that glowed like living oceans, golds that rippled like sunlight trapped under frozen seas, and hues no chart had ever named. The sky became a canvas painted by a visitor older than Earth itself. But still, no harm came. No surges, no storms, no atmospheric shock, only presence, a quiet gesture across the cosmic gulf. When 3I Atlas finally continued on its outward path, the world witnessed another transformation. Its pulses began to slow, then weaken, then vanish entirely. Its glow diminished. The halo collapsed into the emptiness. By the time it drifted beyond Earth's neighborhood, the object had fallen completely silent. It had given everything it had to give, and then continued on its journey. Telescopes followed it for as long as they could, watching a piece of ancient starlight fade into the same darkness it had been born in. It would never return. Its trajectory would carry it away forever. But the memory of its passing remained, etched into the scientific record and the human imagination. Researchers dissected the data, the harmonic wave, the atmospheric echo, the spectral anomalies that danced in the sky. They found no threat, no instability, no radiation variances, only patterns, intricate, ordered, impossible patterns that hinted at an underlying purpose no one yet understood. Some called them natural, some called them coincidence. Others suspected we had witnessed something far older and far more deliberate. A message, perhaps. Not spoken, not encoded, but felt. A reminder that the universe is not silent, and that even its quietest travelers carry stories older than the sun. In the weeks that followed, an unusual calm washed over the scientific community. People expected answers. Instead, the universe had delivered a question. What if the cosmos was never empty at all? What if even the faintest visitor could reshape the way a civilization sees itself? What if December 15th was not a warning, but an observation? As the days slipped further into winter, the disturbances faded. The magnetic field settled back into its perfect pattern. The auroras returned to familiar shades. The skies cleared. Earth moved on, never realizing how close an ancient traveler had brushed past it. Humanity continued forward, carrying a new awareness that something from the deep interstellar dark had passed close enough to touch the invisible boundary of a living world. and then moved on. In archives around the world, the data remains preserved. The pulses, the distortions, the harmonic resonance. Not as an omen, not as evidence of danger, but as curiosity, an imprint of something that reached out gently and left behind a trace. One day, those patterns may be understood. One day, another visitor may drift close enough to reveal more. Or perhaps that moment on December 15th was all the universe intended, a brief alignment between a lonely planet and a wanderer shaped by forces older than time. Long after 3I Atlas disappeared from every telescope, its influence lived on, not in physical relics, but in perspective, a reminder that Earth is not drifting alone in the cosmic dark, and that some objects carry stories written before the sun had even formed. No one knows whether 3I Atlas chose its path or simply obeyed the physics etched into its ancient core. No one knows whether the pulses were communication or coincidence, but in the quiet hours after the event, one idea lingered. Perhaps the object wasn't sending anything. Perhaps it was responding. Earth's magnetic field had not reacted randomly. It had synchronized, matched a rhythm crossing the void. It was as if two patterns had harmonized, briefly, uniquely, beautifully. A cosmic chord struck in passing, and then silence. The solar system returned to its ancient rhythm. The planets continued their steady orbits. The sun burned with the same old fire. Nothing had changed, and yet everything felt different. Because December 15th had revealed a truth humanity had long suspected but never confirmed. Even in the deepest quiet between stars, something listens, something watches, something wonders. And every so often, something reaches out, not to warn, not to speak, but simply to be acknowledged. The universe did not shout, it whispered, and this time, Earth heard it. That was the gift left behind by 3I Atlas, a question, a possibility, and a silence more profound than sound. For in that silence lives the oldest truth of all.